Hello everybody, AJ Ryzik here, and today we're taking a look at Kubuntu 14.04.2. Now, probably the first question you're asking is Kubuntu 14.04 has been out for over a year. Why is he looking at that today? Well, to be quite honest, it is a long-term support release. It will be supported for, in the neighborhood of 4 more years. Why not take a look at it? And also, now that we're at the point release, for the most part, bugs that might have been present and rearing their ugly heads during the first release, uh, hopefully that they've been worked out. So we're going to take a look at all that kind of stuff. Also, I am moving back to Ubuntu based distributions as my main daily driver. And, this is not because I have become disenchanted or anything like that with Arch. The main driver being is that I do all of these Ubuntu based reviews and tutorials and whatnot. It feels a little hypocritical if I'm showing how to do all this stuff and then say, oh, by the way, I'm not using Ubuntu as my base distribution. I'm running Arch. That's I don't like being a person that says do what I say but not what I do. I like to practice what I preach. So anyway, I'm moving back to Ubuntu based distribution. Not that I haven't enjoyed running Arch, and I will probably still keep a partition on my hard drive so that I can go and play around in the land of Arch, because it is great for getting a hold of the latest and greatest software, and it keeps you on that bleeding edge. And at the same time, I found it just as stable as many other distributions out there. So no complaints on that end. I really wanted to get back to the Ubuntu based distribution. So I'm going to be running Kubuntu 14.04 as my main distro for at least a while. When the next long-term support release comes out, which will be the 16.04 series, we'll have to see where we're at that point. But at least for right now, I'm going to run Kubuntu 14.04 as my main distro. So in this video, we're going to do a little bit of reviewing, take a look around at bone stock Kubuntu 14.04, and then I will do a follow-up video showing how I'm going to set up my desktop, the software that I'm adding, all that kind of stuff. So, with that being said, let's get this show on the road and start looking at the world of KDE through Ubuntu eyes. So here we are with bone stock Kubuntu 14.04, and short of adding what I needed for doing my screen recording, everything is stock. I did the installation and then did an update, and boom, we're ready to go. I had a Comoso right here so you can see me while I'm talking, and then simple screen recorder right there. And that's actually the little icon that you see right down here, the red circle. I added those for doing my screen recording, and actually I've got a video coming down the pike that will go over how I do all of my videos, desktop recording from start to finish. I've had a couple of requests on doing that, so I'm hoping to get to that this week. But anyway, back to the review. Like I said, this is basically bone stock Kubuntu, and it's essentially plain vanilla KDE, and not necessarily a bad thing, but a little bit boring. So we got our, I don't know what you want to call it for the background wallpaper. Definitely wouldn't be my choice, but as always, easy enough to change that to something else, whatever your preference is. Looking down here on the left hand side, we've got our menu, which is the kickoff style menu. It's categorized, and you can go through the categories. You got a favorites and applications, a computer recently used, and then a way to leave, log out, shut down, all that kind of stuff. You can also do a right click on there and go to switch to classic menu style and go back to the old style of menu. More of a, I don't know, Windows XP, I guess you could call it. Um, personally, if I'm going to do a menu, I want it as I would want it like this, mainly because of the search function. I usually know what I'm looking for, and I know the name of what I'm looking for, so I can just use that search bar to type, and boom, I got my whatever it is that I'm looking for. Um, and, basically for launching my applications, I am a big fan of using keyboard launchers, whether it is built in to say a menu like this where I can use a search function, or using something like Gnome do, or if you're in the Gnome 3 environment, you have the search function where you can just type ahead and go that route. And then of course even the heads up display in Ubuntu, they all work similarly. I just I like keeping my hands on the keyboard rather than jumping over to back and forth to and from the mouse to either go to a menu or go to a quick launch bar. Uh, to me that's just kind of a, I don't know, a waste of extra motions that I don't need to do. But anyway, kind of back to our panel here. We talked about the menu. Right here is our activities view, so we can look at our activities. Right here we have showing all of our open applications. And then coming on over to the right hand side, this little button right here called show the desktop, click it and it basically minimizes everything to your tray. Of course, we already talked about this for simple screen recorder. Right here for Amarok, which is our audio player, clipboard contents, volume control, and our connected devices, internet, and then if you right here, if you've got any ongoing processes, those and notifications, that sort of thing, those will pop up right here. And then of course we got time date right here, and if you click it, a little calendar pops up. Now I have not configured this yet, but configure it for Google Calendar, that sort of thing, and all of your scheduled events will pop up right in here. All right, let's take a look at some of the applications we got here. I'm going to go through everything real fast, and then I'll come back and talk about a few things in particular. So, under graphics, we've got WinView for our image viewer. I already talked about Komoso. I installed that. K-Snapshot for taking desktop snapshots, LibreOffice Draw for drawing, Ocular for document viewer, and then our scanning application. Under Internet, Aggregator for our feed reader, Blue Devil for our Bluetooth, Firefox for our web browser, and then we have basically the entire KDE suite of instant messaging, Kmail, all that stuff. So I'm just going to kind of, lump all that together. We've got KTorrent for our BitTorrent needs, Quassel IRC for our IRC client. Multimedia, we already talked about Amarok for our audio, Dragon for video player, K3B for disk burning, KMix is our sound mixer. Under Office, we've got the LibreOffice suite for our office needs. And here under settings, the only reason I got the AMD Catalyst Control Center is I have an AMD video card, and got it installed. And then of course we've got our system settings. All right, so down here in settings we've got Dolphin for our file manager. We repeat a whole bunch of stuff. We got console for our terminal, our K info center. We got Muon Discovery, which is our software center, and then we got our software updater. I can never say that. Neopunk. I butcher it every time. Anyway, the cleaner for that, and then startup disk creator, and then under utilities, we've got our archiving tool, which is Arc, Kate, which is our text editor, K calculator, um, Clipper, which is our clipboard tool, Kmag, which is screen magnifier, Kmail import wizard, Kmouse tool, and Knotes. And I think that about covers all of our applications. So, a couple things I wanted to talk a bit about. First is, let me go to Dolphin, our file manager. And the reason being is, of all of the default file managers that are out there, I think that Dolphin is quite possibly the best one available. You've got a split view. If you want to do split view, you can do a single pane view if you want to do that. Very configurable, single click to open files. You can do drag and drop from one pane to the next. Essentially just about every feature you could want in a file manager, you've got it here. Very extensive right-click menu here of different things you can do with it. It's just a great all-around file manager. So definitely get a thumbs up for me on that application. KDE has Contact. I think they refer to it as a personal information suite. I guess the best way to think of this is they have combined email, contacts, calendar, to-do list, RSS feeds, a journal, pop-up notes, all this kind of stuff into not necessarily one application, but you've got this like one-stop shopping where you can go and see, upcoming events, pending to-do list, pop-up notes, new emails, all that kind of stuff. And I'm not going to go into all the details about this because you can see the various applications that are included. It takes some time to get this set up and to get it configured properly and whatnot. Once you do, this is an awesome application suite. Like I said, it like anything KDE, you can tweak it to the nth degree, so it does take some time to get this set up correctly. Once you finally do get it set up and running, it is great. But like I said, it does take some time, and a lot of people just don't have the patience for it. Nor does everybody need, all of these applications. K-Info Center is interesting in that, a lot of desktop environments, they've got a way to take a look at your memory use, CPU use, RAM use, all that kind of stuff. The way that they've got their setup is kind of unique. We've got left hand categorized right here. We've got a summary. We've got a memory use. Talks a little bit about our system, what KDE version we're using, what Qt version, kernel, all that kind of stuff. Device information, network information, graphical, all that broken down over here on the left hand side. So very nice, neatly organized. A lot of the information centers that we see in various distributions there, all the info is there, but not necessarily organized. I think the KDE version, that's the one of the few that is organized. while we're talking about memory use, I think my baseline memory use is I think initially right around 700 megs of RAM, which puts it a little bit lighter than Ubuntu Unity. Um, Not much, but but a little bit. You know, KDE is definitely not a it's definitely not for an older processor and low RAM use. You want to have some decent specs on your computer. Granted, you don't have to have the latest and greatest hardware, but something reasonably powerful and reasonably modern. Muon Discovery is our software center, and as far as I'm concerned, it is worlds better than the Ubuntu Software Center. Um, you got a decent interface here. You got various categories. You can click on a category and kind of browse, that kind of thing. Um, Take a look at what's available, that sort of thing. Or if you know what you're looking for, you can come up here to the search bar and search for it. Um, and like say, let's for example look at this Clementine. You can click on it and it'll give you a little bit of description, tell you some comments, and if you want to install, click the install button. Nice thing here is you don't have the crashes and whatnot that you get with the Ubuntu Software Center. I've had with the Ubuntu Software Center where especially when you're first setting up a distribution, that you go and you click to install maybe 3 or 4 different pieces of software in a row, and then things freeze up and it crashes because it can't handle doing more than one thing at a time. Now, with the Muon Software Center, you can continue to add more and more software, and depending on your internet connection and whatnot, it may take a little while to install everything, but yeah, it doesn't crash on you. So, definitely nice on that. And the other thing I like is that you click on this installed, it'll list everything that you've installed, and anything that needs to be updated, it's going to tell you right here. You don't have to go and do a separate update manager or whatnot. Now, you do have an update manager. There is a Muon update, and you can see it listed right there in the menu. But as far as applications go, you can update it right here while you're searching for software. So it's nice that you don't have to switch applications to do that. And then sources right here is going to show all of the PPAs that you've added, that sort of thing. So issues that I have run into, there has only been one noteworthy issue. I mean, really, I haven't run into anything that I've had problems with thus far, with one exception, and that has been playing YouTube videos on Firefox. And I'm normally a Chrome/Chromium user, so I wasn't real familiar with having this problem with Firefox, and as it turns out, it's mainly related to Flash. And one of the things is making sure that that your Flash plugin is staying up to date. Another fix that somebody on G Plus yesterday brought to my attention is this add-on for Firefox, YouTube All HTML5, and it like it says right here, play all videos on YouTube without Flash in your preferred size using only HTML5. I added this and have not had any problems with the whole YouTube crashing thing ever since then. Now, I've just been sticking with Firefox as I've been doing the reviewing on here. As soon as I get done with this review and I set this distribution up the way that I want it, I will probably very rarely use Firefox. I'll keep it on here because I always like to have a variety of browsers, because you may run into from time to time, a certain web page doesn't open up correctly with one browser, but then you go and switch to a different browser and it's perfect. So I always like having multiple browsers, but Firefox is not my first choice. It's not that it's a bad browser. Every browser's got its pluses and minuses. Um, it's just not my preference. Um, but anyway, other than that one issue, I really haven't had anything that's come up that I've had problems with. Um, Now, I may run into something after I get to configuring the desktop the way that I want it, but as I've been going through and working with various programs and whatnot, there haven't been any issues. Everything's just, it's worked fine, just the way that it was intended. So definitely kudos on that. And that being said, I think this about finishes up this review. Comments, questions, all that kind of stuff, leave it down below. As always, I like to hear from my watchers and the people that are checking out my videos. So, you got suggestions for a different, for an application to review, or a tutorial on how to do something, or a certain OS that you want me to review, just let me know and I will try to get to it as soon as possible. If you enjoyed the video, give us a big old thumbs up, and I will see you all on the next video. Thanks a lot.